This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
The accusations against Sean Puffy Combs continue to come in. As of our recording, I always have to keep saying this, no charges have been filed against him. But that could change at, pretty much any time, considering Homeland Security has already gone through two of his properties and raids. Joining me to discuss this crazy case, Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent. Let's just start with the context of the Homeland Security going in and raiding two of his properties over suspected sex trafficking allegations. This is something that it's not done lightly. They didn't just get a hot tip last week and said, let's go invade two of his properties. I'm going to guess they've been building up this for a little while to get a federal warrant.
Yeah, most likely. And it really kind of Homeland Security going in. I wouldn't say that as a telltale sign of what it is or isn't. There's a lot of task forces out there at the federal level that are doing things like this. And we've been talking about this on our other cases as well. Remember, the network of people that potentially are involved when it comes to child trafficking, child pornography, and all these things. There's a lot of tendrils, and there's a lot of things involved with that, and a lot of task forces that are seeking these things out. And so this may be, because like you said, he hasn't been charged. This may be one of those tendrils of people that have been involved, and that's why you're seeing a lot of activity at the federal level.
Now, Homeland Security is the one that went in. I maybe you can explain this a little bit better. I guess, to the layman, you would go, why isn't it the FBI? Why Homeland Security doing the raids?
Redundancy is all I can say is that there's a task force in the FBI for this. There's a task force at Homeland Security for this. It really depends on the resources brought together, because that's what it comes down to. When you're working in a collaborative environment in law enforcement, you tend to try to ally yourself with different agencies and organizations, also international organizations that actually have knowledge bases and information that can aid your investigation. Homeland Security, a lot of times, since they do a lot more overseas kind of things with Department of State, potentially, they actually might have other connections overseas, because when you're dealing with child trafficking, you're not dealing domestically alone. Guaranteed. It's far-reaching, because these children are coming from all different parts in the world sometimes. And so sometimes Homeland Security is better positioned for these investigations. Is it
more disturbing, the fact that it was Homeland Security that went in and did this, other than just the FBI? Does that just show the potential for how expansive this may be?
Maybe. I take it more as who's got the most invested, I guess, in the investigation is Homeland Security. Again, boy, if these things get really complicated with the different agencies involved. I guarantee you the FBI is partnered with them on this. I don't think they're probably acting alone, but they are probably just lead on it. And so there's going to be a lot of federal organizations involved in it. If it's international, Interpol is going to be involved in providing information on this, because you're going to have foreign law enforcement that are going to be feeding information into this, most likely, if it's Homeland Security. Again, conjecture, but these things rarely are very localized. It's the tendrils go out, because it's all 99% of it's internet based, especially when it comes to trafficking. Yeah. These horrible monsters will purchase time, purchase people through the internet first for a delivery, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. It's dark, horrible stuff.
Yeah. So the fact that these raids did take place, it's just pure speculation. What was going on behind the scenes before this took place, if you were to speculate, for it to get to this point on an investigation level?
So in order to get a warrant to do these things, you have to have a solid case. You have to have a solid probable cause, especially if it's going to reach the level of potential notoriety of the people involved. The dots and I's, the T's that are crossed, the I's that are dotted are at a very, very high level. There's a lot of levels of approval that go through this. It starts at like my level, that when I was a case agent in the field, I had to put a case together. part of me putting a case and investigation together was collaborating with a prosecutor, as we've said in other shows as well. It's a team, because just because I can investigate something doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere, because they don't want to waste my resource as an investigator if we're going to prosecute it. So you're teamed with a prosecutor. In order for it to get to the prosecutor, then it's got to go through my supervisor. From my supervisor to my assistant special agent in charge. From there, it's probably to the special agent in charge of the field office, partnered with legal counsel. Then it's going to go up to FBI headquarters before it even goes to the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is going to assign the prosecutor at that level over there. So it's multiple levels. And so I'm highlighting that this just wasn't done on a whim by someone in the field.
Yeah. I mean, so on each and every level, is each level reviewing the previous group's work to make sure, okay,
if they're doing it the way it should be done, yes. Especially when you're dealing with people, it's going to be a high profile case with a lot of scrutiny on it. I mean, just look at when they raided Trump's place down in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. That went through a lot of wickets because they knew they're going to get backlash from both sides. And the same thing here, because you're going to have a lot of fans and also people that aren't fans that are going to be weighing in on this. So they got to make sure that, one, it's going to be the most important thing in the world, a solid case, and it's going to be accurate, and justice will be served, both victims and also potential criminals.
Yeah, I mean, because it can't be something where, I mean, there's a lot of room for leeway here. I mean, at the end of the day, if this was nothing, there'd be a massive lawsuit against the government, I would imagine, by Diddy for damaging his reputation and such, if in fact this wasn't as solid as it likely appears to be.
Right, but and also doing searches like this, they're fact finding as well, but they're not fact finding like throwing a net out and wishing you'll find something. They have to be able to articulate it to a judge that they have probable cause that they're going to find the evidence they need for prosecution. But again, that's why there's no charges, because this is fact finding. They're looking for elements of a crime that they can prosecute.
So basically, they're going in there. They can't just take anything they want. They have a list of things that they are going after and looking for. That's why we see the homes being turned upside down and things like that as they're searching for these things. They go in. They did come out with some stuff. We'll see what exactly that is at some point.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advance access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.